Hi. In our blog series about ideas that matter, or ideas mattering, how focusing goes with many different kinds of ideas and enriches them. Today I have with me Charles Herr, a clinical psychologist, and he has been immersed in nonviolent communication as well as focusing and their integration for a very long time. And he's going to be exploring with me the issue of focusing on social change. So I think first, Charles, you want to give us a little introduction to orient us to,
a little background to how
ideas.
I got involved in sort of the kind of a preface to my interest in my excitement about how focusing on nonviolent communication could contribute to how we go about making social change.
This is such an apt, important issue for right now in our history.
Yes.
We're so hungry for this kind of talk.
Yeah, and I mean, our current situation really makes us feel a sense of urgency about how we can stay connected to ourselves and our humanness.
Yes.
And as we create our relationships in our society together, because society is something that we're constantly creating together.
Yes, exactly.
It's an ongoing process. And with people of many different orientations, people who are happy that Donald Trump won, and people who are very unhappy. But we're all together in the society, like it or not. And we could say we're going to get divorced, but we're not.
We have the children to think of. Yes.
We have the other
And to
children.
stay together to
Right.
the
So
children.
how do we do this? How do we do this?
And I just want to say I like your point that we're always creating our society. We're always moment by moment creating the culture that is then creating us.
Exactly. Exactly. It's a dialectic, a continual process.
Yes, reciprocal,
Right. Exactly.
creative movement.
Exactly. So that's one concept that comes from Gene Genlin's philosophy. And it's also part of Marshall Rosenberg, who developed nonviolent communication. He was also very concerned about using language that reflects process rather than something fixed in things. So that gets me to, I want to go back a little bit in history.
Rosenberg also was very interested in process language.
Right. And he didn't like to use the word to be, because that was, and Gene also, Gentleman also talks about how his thinking. He
Yes, it's a bad word, Gene says.
Right, the verbs that, because when we label somebody, we say they are something. And that already defines a person. When a person isn't something, a person is always developing and growing, changing. Becoming, right. And that's actually a phrase from the person I'm going to mention now, Marx. He talked about how in his vision in the future society, we would be, his phrase, an absolute movement of becoming. That was his phrase for how he thought that we were not something formed by the past.
So Marx said that.
Yes.
We were an absolute
movement of becoming. Not something formed from the past, and not something by some previously established yardstick, but we were continually developing and creating ourselves. So I want to go back a little bit, like till 1964.
Good year.
Yeah. When I entered into Berkeley, California, and in that fall there was something called the Free Speech Movement. And
I remember that.
Yeah, and Mario Savio, and people can Google it. They have written passion speech about how we're not going to be part of the machine. We're going to, So students, it was the free speech movement. That was and what the essence was that students had tables set up on campus to recruit for various causes. Some were recruiting to picket places that were discriminating racially. Some were Goldwater Republicans. It didn't matter. The students were on campus. They were politically active. They were recruiting for causes. And the university said, no, we're shutting you down. This is a university. We're not going to have political activity in the university. So it became a conflict.
Mm-hmm.
The students insisting that they wanted to have they were grown-ups, they had a right to be politically active. But the point that I want to make here is that in that famous, well, some people famous speech that Savio made, he said, "We're not things. We're not parts of a machine." You know, Clark Kerr around the universe said, "Well, this is a university and this is a production machine." And he said, "Well," I said, "Well, if we're a production machine, then we're the raw materials that the faculty are forming into products and commodities that are then going to be sold." So we're sorry, but we're not. We're not any of those things.
We're not playing.
We're not playing. So then we get sat in, but there was the heart of what it means not to be a human being and not to be a thing, not to be alien.
To claim your right,
your
not to be a thing.
Your right, your personhood, your humanity, right.
Sometimes we have to do that every day.
Over and over, every minute.
Yes.
Right. So from there, I read Erich Fromm and read The Art of Loving, and I don't know how many people were revolutionized by that book, but I was. Because he said, you know, loving will always remain a thing of a minority in a society where things are valued over living, over labor, where capital is a hierarchy of values, and capital, which is amassed things, is of higher value than labor. And he said that's incompatible, really, with love, which values each person as
loving will always be a minority.
In a system where that hierarchy of values. So I became a socialist, and I began to read Marx, and the essence of Marx for me was this issue of alienation. That people got disconnected from themselves, they got disconnected from their own process of work. It wasn't theirs anymore. The product.
You mean in this machine-like
atmosphere where he said we became an appendage to the machine, where and that the worker existed for production rather than production for the worker. All these things, and that wonderful phrase for me, where he said that his vision of future society, the free development of each person, each individual.
The free development of each individual
is the condition for the free development of all. So it's not
it's the precondition.
It's the precondition. It's the precondition. It's the free development of the whole.
Of the society.
Yes. So he prioritized the individual. People don't realize that. People think, oh, he's all about community. But he said, no. The free development of every single individual is the condition for everybody's free development.
Wow, that's interesting. I never heard that before of Marx.
Yeah, I mean, it's right there in the Communist Manifesto. But nobody, it's like so many things that people don't read that are so famous, but they don't actually look what's actually
written. It hasn't gotten a lot of press. It isn't what was picked up on.
It wasn't what was picked up on.
What spoke to you was what you picked up on.
Yes, and that phrase that in the early manuscripts, where he's talking about love and trust, and he's saying that you can't really buy it.
You can't buy love and trust.
Love has to be given for love and trust for trust. And my expression of love needs to come from my own unique individual sense of my aliveness, of my individuality in relation to you, or to whatever I'm relating to should come from my real individual life.
Yes.
And to me, that we'll get a little further into that, but what excited me so much when I learned about focusing is I felt that it brought me in touch with my real individual life.
Yes.
With not in an abstract way, the way it was experienced here in my body as a living energy.
Yes.
And that's why I felt that focusing was kind of a de-alienating process. It was if the world that we live in kind of alienates us from who we are, disconnects us from ourselves, makes us a little bit like maybe a commodity or a role that we play, And Jean Gentleman talks about this in the book on focusing, how it tends to have patterns that are imposed on us.
Mm-hmm.
Focusing helps us to find our own patterns, create our own relationships from our own unique aliveness of who we are.
Come back to ourselves.
Come back to ourselves,
home to ourselves.
and connecting in that deep way with ourselves, we connect in an authentic way.
Right. I
with
see
others.
that link, that this quote of Marx that was so exciting to you about coming from and intending the other from the individual aliveness was a kind of aspiration and concept that was inspiring, but then focusing was kind of a method or
Exactly.
an approach to actually, in
Do
the
it.
moment, doing it, right?
Right.
Finding that
Right.
aliveness.
Right.
What is this
Right.
aliveness we're
Right.
talking about?
Right.
We like that
Well,
word,
it
but
sounds
what
good.
is it?
But see, and focusing and nonviolent can give us actual steps. Give us
Actual steps
things
to
we can
find
do to find
The aliveness.
it. Right.
So then we would be relating to the world, to the other,
from this. Right.
inside
Right.
that we can find in focusing this
Right. Right.
feeling of aliveness
Of
in our
us,
bodies,
of who we are. Yeah,
particularity, and the particularity of the moment.
exactly.
Yeah.
So then, to go a little further in terms of what, if we think about social change,
Mm-hmm.
and
That's
And
our
a-
big topic.
a big
tonight,
topic.
Yeah.
if we go deeply into that, we're talking about some very profound changes, right? So,
Yes. So
you
we're
know,
trying to
get to
go
say
from a world of machines to a world of loving,
living and living,
and coming from aliveness. Big change.
Big
Yeah.
change, big change. A revolution, really.
A revolution.
But what do we mean? We use that. We throw that word around.
Yeah,
too
what
loosely.
is that? Because some people are afraid of that.
Right,
word.
and
What do you
I
mean?
think with reason, because so many revolutions have ended up being either violent or ended up in being a form of a new tyranny.
Yes.
Happened in Russia, happened to some extent in the French Revolution.
Yeah.
We were lucky here in this country, even though we never didn't have a completely free society, we didn't go to a tyranny. And we were lucky, because one of the revolutions that didn't, but it had a lot of
One
problems.
of them.
It still remained property oriented, right? And so we've had to have a lot of revolutions since then.
Yes.
We can think of the
Yes.
Civil War as a kind of revolution. We can think of the Civil Rights Movement, suffragette. So these
Yeah.
were all movements toward transform relationships of domination, exclusion, to one of more inclusion, more equality.
So all of these revolutions you're saying that happened here in the United States were revolutions of going from domination to more participation, more equality, more
Exactly.
uh,
Mutuality.
mutuality, yeah,
Right.
Yeah.
And inclusion.
and inclusion, yeah.
So one of the disturbing things recently is that Trump ran on a campaign of exclusiveness and so forth, but without going specifically necessarily into that. The broader question is, can we create a society that's essentially or predominantly, it's not going to be completely collaborative rather than exploitative or authoritarian.
So this is the big question
Right.
that we're exploring tonight. Can we make society more participatory?
And can we use methods in doing so that make it likely that it will result in that and not in a new domination? So, that's happened so many times. We just go from one domination system to a new domination system.
Right,
How can we actually end up with something different,
right,
new?
right. You're talking about a kind of new democracy.
Yes,
Kind
a
of.
true democracy.
A true
A
democracy,
true democracy, yeah.
where everybody's voice counts.
Yes,
Not only the voices that have the votes
or the most money.
or the most money, right? Right. Or the most or the most bodies in their group.
Right,
But
that too.
every voice.
Every voice.
Counts.
Every voice.
Yeah.
Exactly. And so there's where focusing on nonviolent communication, I thought, oh, these are two practices that if we incorporate them into how we go about making change, we increase the likelihood. There's nothing going to give us certain, but we increase the likelihood that the outcome will be one of partnership, collaboration, authentic relatedness, inclusion, very good.
It seems to me it's that these two traditions, if you will, provide practices that can help us
Exactly.
in that co-creation,
Exactly.
but also maybe not only practices but attitudes, philosophies, perspectives
Yes, all of that.
that can hold us, can inspire us, can motivate us.
Yes, beautifully
Yeah.
said. Yes, yes. And
So let's just see how you know.
so just a few things, because I think, but one is, and this is something in common really with both practices, because in focusing we talk a lot about how there's a value in pausing.
A big emphasis on the pause, the revolutionary pause.
The revolutionary pause, as Mary Hendricks put it, and it is revolutionary. That's my point. Is, for instance, if we have a relationship of domination, what can we do in that context to help move it towards more collaboration? I actually maintain that although it often is the person who's oppressed, as we want to call it that, or under the thumb of power, is often the one that's going to initiate change. But not necessarily always. Not always. A parent may have a rebellious teenager. And the parent may pause.
Yes.
And say, no, wait a minute. I know I'm getting triggered, but I'm taking a moment, I'm going to take a breath, I'm going to center myself, and I'm going to try to respond from a more centered place. So already, and not want to, there's an impulse that it can be easy for a rebellious teenager to want to control them, right? Because it's kind of like a reaction. Yeah. But we try to step out of that. Pausing lets us step out.
Let me take that in.
Yeah.
Pausing is revolutionary because it helps us step out of the heat of the moment. Step out.
And even step out of
the
closeness of this power system.
It helps us step out of the power dynamic.
Yes.
It helps us step out of the way that system is constructed in that moment.
And allows for something new to come in.
I'm relating to this also as a therapist, that in some ways the asymmetrical relationship in therapy, one thinks that the therapist is the one with power. That isn't always true, or it's certainly not true in certain emotional dimensions. But when we're locked, me and my client are locked in some kind of dynamic, as the therapist, I'm the one that has to pause and just sort of reconnect with myself.
Right. Exactly.
And there you're coming back to Mark's idea of the aliveness, relating from the aliveness.
Right. Yeah.
And my aliveness goes when I'm locked into some kind of dynamic.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I have to go back and find it again.
I find it again.
Before I
now the patient could pause too.
Oh, absolutely. We
hope
show them that.
And an employee can
yes.
Can, if the boss says jump, employee can not jump. Not necessarily say anything. Just internally, like a little internal movement of saying, I'm going to take a breath. I'm going to slow down. I'm getting a little triggered. I'm reacting, but I'm not going to react. I'm going to take a moment to center and to come to myself.
And I think that you're making a link here between these relations of domination, relations of closed interaction and being triggered. And I think that's an important connection you're
Mm.
that whether it's individual relationships in marriages or parent-child or therapy, therapist-patient, or communal relationships or societal relationships, there's this triggering of primal
Mhm.
fear,
You see a lot of that
Flight,
recently.
fight.
You've seen a lot of that recently.
yes. And the feeling then of being locked in, I've got to get
Mhm.
the other person to do what I
Mhm.
want or
Right.
it's all over. I've got to take charge of this situation and get it to be set right, whatever that set right is.
Yes.
And there's this urgency
Yes.
and bodily.
It's felt in the body. Absolutely.
Yeah. And the pause is this, wait a minute, let me see
You
here.
breathe and you slow down.
Right.
And that's in nonviolent communication too. Marshall Rosenberg made this, one of the most important things he said to himself over and over is take your time.
Take your time. I always say when I'm doing workshops on communication, strike while the iron is cold.
Right.
Let it cool down.
Let it cool off.
Right.
So there are a lot of. Now I just want to go a little further. I want to say that it's something I'm actually still working on. This whole issue of can we transform our relation? What steps can we take to help shift relationships of coercion, exploitation, for shorthand, because actually every relationship is particular as well.
Yeah. I'm wondering, you said before we started here, about a felt sense of domination or
Right,
coercion.
you can feel it in our body, right?
That when we're being coerced, but also when we're feeling the need to coerce, right?
That would also be, I think it would be
to dominate.
But it would be somewhat different, right? I would guess. I think it would be different. One would be an urgency to control, right? There would be some sort of sense of, I've got to control this situation.
I've got to take charge.
Take charge of it, and there's something dangerous or something that needs to be, can't let that happen. Somehow.
Right.
So it could be a little bit like Anne Horser Cornell and Barbara Gavin developed the concept of protectors or controllers internally.
Mm.
But sometimes also there's an urge to control the other.
To control the environment.
Environment.
We are the environment.
The rebellious person that we want. The environment. To have some security.
Yeah.
So it's very complex. And if we're under the oppression, we're the controllee rather than the controller, that has a feeling to it too. And it's not exactly the same.
I'm just taking that in and seeing, is it the same? Yeah. To me, it might be not the same exactly, but pretty much the same.
There's something
when
in
I
common.
want to control what's going on in the political situation, and I have this urgency to stop the oppression, it's this feeling of I've got to do something here
to oppose the oppression,
to oppose the oppression.
Right.
And it's a very similar feeling to somebody bossing me around.
Yes, but it's not the same as you bossing someone around.
It's similar. When I need to boss someone around,
there's an urgency. There's an urgency in both cases. There's an urgency
and a feeling of setting it straight. Whether I'm bossing them around,
or rebelling,
I feel like I need to.
Or rebelling against the
bossed. Or getting them the hell away from me.
That's which one? Getting them the hell away from you.
That's when they're oppressing.
Right.
Get them out of my face.
But now you have somebody that's not doing their job the way you'd want them to. Maybe it's similar, and you're frustrated, and you say, "Wait a minute, you've got to do it this way.
Right. Yeah. The house is burning down.
Right.
Turn off the stove.
Right.
You push that button and
Exactly.
we're all dead.
That's right. The house is burning down, and that's sort of the
Right.
sense of, oh, these immigrants are coming in, and it's we're in danger, and we've got to get somebody in here that can really fix it.
Right.
Well, okay. So the feeling of relaxed mutuality is very different from either of those.
Yes.
And that's what
That's hard to get to, isn't it?
it's hard to get to, but ideally that's, I think, what I'm thinking of is the social change that we're
Okay,
so
let me take that in. So what we want to get to here is something that's calmed down inside ourselves, to come from our own aliveness, and to see the other as person, not thing, not a thing that's blowing us up,
right.
But
essentially friendly other person.
or conflictual other person, or whatever other person.
But still a person. And
right,
and we are a person.
Right, and we're a person, and there is an us.
Yes.
Even if we're in conflict,
There's an us.
even if we're hating each other, there's
still
an
an us.
us,
There's an
right?
us.
And to
We're not things.
right, and somehow to connect with this slower movement of aliveness, where something can sort of emerge that has more space to be participatory, to have.
Yeah, so that's the idea of
Dialogue.
slow democracy. It's great medicines.
Tell me more about.
Well, just
slow
that
democracy.
you've mentioned to me that's where it's.
Yes.
And I like the phrase. I don't know.
We'll
Because
make it mean what we
what
want it to mean right now.
Well, what you're saying, exactly what you're saying, that there's that quality of neutrality, everybody being a participant. And one thing that I like about nonviolent communication, there's all these parallels with Marx. Because,
No, I never would have thought that.
because
I'm
he
very
said,
glad you're telling me this.
it's a famous phrase, from each according to their capacity, to each according to their need. That was sort of his way of, in shorthand, describing the principle of communism.
Mm-hmm.
Well, in nonviolent communication, giving from the heart, freely, and meeting people's needs, awareness of their needs, and it's essentially that. That's essentially it. And as I found another quote from Marx, which I like, which was from his inaugural address. He talked about how it was an inaugural address to the International Working Men's Association in 1864.
1864.
100 years before the free speech movement.
Wow. Mm-hmm.
And he envisioned that the coercive forms of labor, slavery, would be replaced by what he called associated labor. So just people freely associating without, this mutuality, getting together, associating freely, which he said, plying its toil with a willing hand, a ready mind, and a joyous heart.
Wow.
So that
A willing hand, a joyful heart,
a ready mind,
a ready mind,
and a joyous heart.
a joyous heart, and what was the third one?
Well, that was it. It's a willing hand,
A willing hand, a ready mind,
and
a joyous heart. Wow, that's. I love envisioning a communal spirit like that.
And it's like giving from the heart. I mean, it's essentially the same concept of giving, of freely contributing according to our capacity.
Yeah. And I'm thinking, as we say that, how can focusing, or how does focusing enable us to have a ready mind, a joyful heart?
It does, I believe.
Yeah. The ready mind I associate with the attitude of receptivity that's
Alertness,
necessary
alertness,
for focusing.
openness,
Openness for surprise,
Yeah.
receptivity,
nothing
that
present.
in order to do focusing, in order to be in a focusing conversation, rather than an urgent, dominating interchange, we need to have the openness to the unknown,
Mhm.
and the openness to the other,
Mhm.
whatever they bring.
To be ready for what
hear
comes, whatever comes, right?
The ready mind. You know, I think of something else that Jean Gemlin said, that we can't have acceptance for things we don't accept. We may not accept certain things in the political situation. We're not going to accept them. They're unacceptable.
Right.
But what we can have as a ready mind is curiosity.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that openness to, what is this really? What's behind
Right.
this?
So
What's
that's that
under
radical listening that we're talking about.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
a radical
yeah.
listening, and I think that that's also links with nonviolent communication, because there you're trying to connect with the feelings and needs of the person, even though you don't agree with them.
Mm-hmm.
They're doing something that you find unacceptable,
Mm-hmm.
but they're still a person
Yeah,
who has
you
feelings
want to
and
know
needs,
their
and you
feelings
want to
and their needs.
understand their feelings and their needs. And if they're acting in some way of using power over, well, that's because probably they're afraid, or they want to have a need for security.
You can be interested in
You can be
what-
interested in what it is that's there for them, without, and even opposing them. Even it's in nonviolent communication is a thing of protective use of force. I mean, we might need to arrest somebody who's going out hitting people, of course. You know, so sometimes when you need to stop people, you can't just always be empathic.
It's not
listening.
about being nice.
No, it's not.
It's not about agreeing. It's not
No, and
about
there are
smoothing
times
things
when, and there are
over.
times when we really need to act and say, no, this is not okay.
Mm-hmm. I want to underline that. Nonviolent communication.
It has a place. There's a chapter in the book. There's a chapter in
the book
called
Is it,
the,
this is not
the
okay.
protective use of force.
Right.
Yeah.
I won't allow this.
Right. You're going to go and shoot people. I'm going to stop you from shooting people. That's
Right.
not allowed.
I'm going to stop you from deporting my friend here.
Right.
You know,
I'm going to do
as
it.
much as I can.
I'll sit in front of the deportation and do a city, whatever. We're going to do. We'll create sanctuary cities of whatever.
Right. Whatever it takes to protect. But the protecting is non-violent. It's not about.
It's not punitive. It's not punitive.
And it's not about making the other the embodiment of evil.
No,
the bad.
No, on the contrary, we would still try to empathize, even at the moment, and that's that Gandhi, right? Even though we oppose, we're still trying to understand that this person's a human being.
Mm-hmm. And a human being has a very special meaning in focusing for Jean and his philosophy. A human being, he says, is that which looks out from you, looks out at you from behind the eyes.
That person in
that
there.
spirit.
The person in there.
The one in there.
The one in there. Right.
The one in there.
Right.
And a human being is not a static something.
Right.
It's a movement. It's an emergence. It's a becoming.
Yeah.
And it is a forward movement.
Right. It is a forward movement.
So that when we're wanting to be interested and curious about the human being behind ideas that we hate,
yes,
we want to know what is the forward movement that's trying to happen there.
What is the life that's trying to live there? Right.
Yeah. What is the?
So can we carry that spirit into our actions? We try to do social change, but can we have that spirit in us as we go about it in such a way that we are creating the relationships that we want to have?
Yes.
In the very act of making change.
Yes.
So that there's not a contradiction between the way we're relating and what we want to bring about.
Right. The ends don't justify the need.
Right, and
or
don't
something.
contradict
Contradict
the
Yes.
they're congruent.
Yes, yes. And it seems to me that that starts in all of our conversations with the taxi driver, with our relatives that don't agree with us, that this starts.
Right, it's not so much convincing them of our rightness.
Absolutely.
It's what kind of relationship are we creating between us?
Yes, what kind of culture are we creating in that moment of interaction?
Right.
Yeah.
We're doing something. We may not come to agreement, but if we've created a relationship where we're relating to each other in a certain way, we've done something. We've created a little seed, a little cell of the new society right there.
Yes.
In
Yes.
that.
Not that we are getting them to agree with us,
No.
but we're creating the society. We're doing the thing that we're talking about, not necessarily getting the other person to
Come over or
be on our side about talking about it.
Right.
It's beyond. It's the doing of it, not the talking about it.
Yes, it's the doing of it.
The doing of it can be very different than the talking about it.
Yes.
We can eat together lovingly while we're disagreeing on our ideas. I just wanted to bring in this Dharma quote that you know that I love about the highest principle is this, that you hold yourself open to the conversation.
Right.
And it seems to me that
that's very consistent. It's very consistent with this whole thing.
Yeah, and with the pause, that you have to pause in order to hold yourself open to the conversation. Well, thank you.